I'm gonna bring up a couple of our team members. All right, let's see. How many can we pack on here? Here we go. Hey, everyone. All right. So, man, how are we gonna do this? All right. Let's just share some stories here. Where are we gonna start? Audra.
Hi.
All right. You started off early in the day. And you joined us recently, or not too recently, several months ago. You're about to hit Icon, which is one of the big awards for successful agents, and you're a broker. Why don't you just talk a little bit about what your thought process was as a broker? You had your own brokerage, so it's a unique situation, and it's actually where a lot of people want to get because they want to be independent. What was going through your head both currently, and then what were you thinking like down the line, like the long-term opportunities whenever you were making that critical decision?
Not having to handle all the paperwork.
There's no paperwork in real estate.
Yeah, I just joined eXp in the summer. I think talking with you guys, Brant, Chris, just working with my investors, just the opportunities that I had with eXp, I think that's what kind of made my decision. Was the amount of volume working with my investors.
Yeah, it made perfect sense. Like you're already working with a lot of investors, and we do a lot of investing. And we also, like, real estate investors typically generate a ton of retail leads. Like,
right.
We did the math in our business, and I remember telling Jamie this. It's like 2018, like all the retail leads that we generated equal to like over $200,000 in gross commission. Unfortunately, we didn't capitalize on it because I wasn't wearing that hat at the time. We were busy grinding on our flips, but that's changed. We realized like kind of what Matt Gardner's just really been crushing is both sides, being able to wear both hats and do that simultaneously as just a value proposition. Hey, how can I help you? Matt, what were you thinking? So we've got an interesting story in this never with any other brokerage, this never could have happened. I met you. Jamie and I were just getting off stage of a 3-day event, which we attended a mastermind 2 days prior to that event. So we're in beautiful San Diego, but we're stuck in a hotel for 5 days straight. And then we got a flight early the next morning. So we get off stage, we're exhausted. It's at the end of the day too. We just want to get out of there, go to the beach, get a nice dinner before we have to head back to sweaty Houston. But you come up to me, and I'm an introvert, and I say this with all sincerity. It's not like I don't like talking to people, but I was just drained. But you come up to me and just wanting to talk, connect. You were interested in getting involved in real estate or getting your license soon. I was like, yeah, sure, let's connect. You went back to Florida, and I went back to Houston. We connected, showed it to you. You're like, yeah, cool, gonna get my license soon. And you did. Now 70 something or actually now you've hit icon status your second year. You did 74 deals your second year. You're capping your just reset. You're about to cap again after like 2 months. I'm sure you'll hit icon like within 2 or 3 months. Like, it's just insane. What were you thinking back as a new agent, and then also like now? What are you saying to these agents as you're talking and growing your team?
For me, I did a bunch of research because I know a lot of agents jump around for the first couple of years. Like, that's pretty common to do in brokerages, and I didn't want to do that. So I did my due diligence as much as I could. So I studied and I interviewed with 11 different brokerages in the area. So I interviewed with KW, Coldwell, Sotheby's, all the big name brands, as well as some of the local boutique ones, the flat fee brokerages around in the area as well. And it's kind of like Pat was just saying, like there's no brokerage out there that tops it as far as the model. So like it was really a no-brainer once I kind of truly compared everything side by side. Yeah, I mean, I've looked back since, super happy. And it's kind of like Pat said, if you just look at the numbers, it's really a hard thing to refute. It's not even just the numbers; it's the support network and it's everything else that's beyond just numbers for me, along with the potential wealth building down the road. Personally, right now I'm focused, 80% on production and 20% on, trying to invite and show people how awesome eXp is. I know that might shift here down the road, but I just love how there's so many opportunities within the company.
And it's pretty neat that you came to that conclusion on your own. Like I wasn't there with you. Like we did a Zoom call, and I think it was on your phone. So you were like looking at this tiny little spreadsheet, and I mean, I don't even know what I said. But at the end of the day, you figured it out on your own. And then also we've had a lot of interaction between now and then, but we don't live in the same town. It's not like I can just go to your office and help you out. You just went with it. Like you didn't ask me, hey, so-and-so is interested in joining. Like, what do I say to this guy? All you did was you have value. You know what you offer. You know what you do. And just like your presentation earlier today, leading with value, and folks saw that. And that's how you've been able to grow so quickly. I just find that very unique as a new agent, and I'm sure, well, I'm pretty positive that comes from your military background. But it's just pretty cool because I see other new agents when they're considering eXp. It's like they just don't quite understand it, and then they go the traditional route. And there's nothing wrong with that; they're great companies too. But they just sometimes can't see past the brick and mortar of like the traditional brokerages. But they just jump around.
Yeah, I think the allure of a lot of the traditional brokerages really hit home. Like, oh, we're going to be in-person training, and a lot of people don't realize that the mentorship program within eXp, that was massive for me. So I had you guys were out in Texas, right? So I had Chris, I had Brant, I had Pat. Like if I needed to call you guys as my upline, that you were there for an answer, but you're Texas agents, right? And I was like one of 3 agents in the Florida Panhandle that were with eXp. So there was not many as far as local support, but I did have my mentor who was local, and that really was my savior because I was full-time pilot at the time. So I told her, I was like, I can't. She when she presented it to me, she said, you could be by my hip for the next 6 months to get as much experience as you want, or we can do 1 phone call a week. She's like, whatever works best for you to help you succeid. And I was on a phone call with her last night. She's a fantastic mentor, and having her by my side as a brand new agent, that paid so much dividends in the long run. And like I said, I'm still splitting deals with her all the time because I know her strong suits and my strong suits, and we work together fairly well for a lot of these deals. So the mentorship program is something I try to hit home because a lot of these other people will as new agents, they'll say, oh, but the Ignite program, it's proven to be such an amazing training asset or whatever, and I think that one-on-one mentorship program that we have in eXp is massive.
Yeah, and I did an interview. It's in our YouTube channel with Mallory, one of your agents, and she was brand new. And that was the thing that she mentioned, like, because I was just blown away by how quickly she grew. And I don't know, I can't remember the conversation if she was full time at that time or not. But in any case, she was a brand new agent, and she'd already gone out and did like 3 deals within 60 days or so, and she had like another 4 million in the pipe. So I was like, holy cow, like what are you doing? And she credited the mentorship program. That's pretty cool. Hey, Alex, so you're a real estate agent. You're a little different setup operationally. I mean, you're an agent as a value or as a vertical in your business because you've got a few things going on over there. There's jet lending, but your leader there, Mr. Eddie Gant, he's always buying a lot of houses and got a lot of rentals, and there's all kinds of things going on over there. So we had been talking with y'all for a while, and successful people typically are a little harder to get a hold of. Not get a hold of, but really just kind of slow down to absorb the information. And I feel like once we were able to get that critical meeting to where we actually got the entire jet team all around the table, and Pat Hayes at one point came down, and then we got Connor to come down and all sit down and show the numbers from A to Z and how it applies to you and your business, not just macro, but how it applies to jet and how it applies to your unique position in the marketplace. Can you tell me a little bit about that meeting?
Yeah, I mean, so just like you said, I mean, when we're just swamped, we're busy, but everybody's busy, but that's the kind of meetings people are going to get. And when we saw the value of how, we can really grow a business doing this. I mean, you're talking, when I was closing loans, I used to sell 18 houses a year on average on social media alone. I never seen them. And, I was really running and doing stuff like that. And I did not have enough. I didn't have enough space in my head to do something new. So just talking to you, talking to Brant, talking to Connor, I was like, this is really something simple. I always tell my agents underneath me, and I always tell my borrowers that were lending money, I said, how do you make more money by not doing much that you're already doing? So when you explained it, I was like, I'm already doing this. I'm already setting things up. I can easily add this into my program and really become successful doing this. So once I got it, I just had to really slow down everybody else in the jet team, because everyone's like, close loans, close loans. I was like, you need to slow down and really see how you can really, not only just, because I don't want to just make it about everything about money, but how you can monetize this, but how you can really change people's lives by showing them how to make more money by not doing much more than you're already doing. Anybody can make money by just keep adding stuff, but how can you really become efficient and really change your wealth? And so when you and Brant and Connor came down and Pat really discussed how you can do that, I instantly got it, and we've been going strong. I sent a link today for someone to sign up, and it really helps, because we don't really sell a lot of houses. We do a lot of lending. However, it's a perfect mirror for people that says, well, I don't really do a lot of this. We're still very successful in eXp realm by, we don't do a lot of residential stuff. We do a lot of investments. There's multiple ways that you can grow this team. You can grow this business. You can grow this wealth generator with multiple different avenues and how you can structure your business. We really understood it, and we really, really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I feel like it allows that extra collaboration and cohesion with that we've had on a loose basis over the years, but now we have such great cohesion and collaboration because y'all are out there doing a lot of loans. Eddie does a lot of investments, a lot of speaking. I'm doing my business. Brant's doing his business. Audra, Matt, we're all doing our things, but now we have this synergy, and that's an overused word, and I can't believe I just said that, but it's this cohesion where we're now vested in each other's success. Right. So, and this is actually, I drove this point home to a lady who she was on a real estate team, and she, at the end of the day, she was a new agent, but she crushed it her first year, and she only made about like 40 grand because of all the splits. And so she was like, hey, I'm gonna go off on my own. The team leader was irate. These were not eXp agents. It was another big brand. They were mad. They were like dogging her and just putting her down and all that stuff. She'd never be successful without them. And I was telling her, I was like, hey, look, with eXp, we don't have that. Because if you outgrow my team, if I had a production team, if Pat has an agent on the Pat Hayes group and they outgrow the resources that he has, and they can go out and flourish on their own and start their own team, Pat's thrilled. He's thrilled. Way to go, do it. With every other brokerage, that doesn't exist. And now I can do that on an international scale. Brant, you brought me into eXp. You were my sponsor, and so you sent me this text. And you're like, hey, check this thing out. And I'm busy. The only reason why because you wanted to meet, and the only reason why I came there was because of you. There was no other reason. I mean, you could have, told me you want to talk about toothpaste. I probably would have came. But that speaks something. The quality and character of the person that you know, and the person talking to you, that does matter. It has value, and you built up a good reputation over the years. So that's why I went. And when you sat down and showed it to me, it was instant. I think I told you I was going to think about it, but I'd already made the decision because it was a no-brainer. Where I was as an investor, my agent business, it was non-existent at the time. I've taken advantage of it since then, realizing all the extra money that we can get. But I knew long term, I'm in this game long term. And when you showed it to me, how the stock and the rev share, I was like, long term, it's like, I've got people asking me what brokerage I'm with now. I tell them, and I was with a flat fee shop. I didn't care if they joined or not. And I liked them. They didn't do anything that just overwhelmed me. They didn't bother me either. They were just, they did what they did, and I was cool with that. But at the end of the day, I didn't care if anyone joined them or not. But I was like, hey, look, I could probably accidentally bring some people to EXP. This is before I even realized what EXP was. Like, you showed it to me, and I was like, I had no idea. It sounded cool. I knew I could build wealth passive income. But later on, realized, hey, look, this is a game changer. You told me this is Amazon real estate. I kind of like, I don't know. And then as I was getting in, I was seeing these stories of like what Pat was doing, and then saw it like in real action with what Matt's doing and Alex and Audra. I'm like, holy cow! Like, no, this is something much bigger. Like what Connor was saying earlier with social media. Like, this is going to a so much bigger level than we can even comprehend. So, what were you thinking whenever you got approached by Connor? Which Connor, I know he's traveling. I'm gonna put him backstage. Jamie. Whenever he comes back, you can bring him back in. But what were you thinking? As you're busy, you do a million things. Like, you're busier than me. What were you thinking?
Well, when I first saw EXP, I was thinking, I was trying to think of reasons I should not do it. To be honest with you, that's what I was thinking, because I'm busy. I've got a lot of things going on. And I like I said, I was just blindsided by it. You know, I was blindsided when I met Connor, and Connor started talking about EXP. I'm like, wait a second, this guy's a real estate investor. Didn't even know he's licensed. What is he talking about? You know, he started talking about, the first cloud-based brokerage and the fastest growing, real estate brokerage in United States history. And it was an agent-owned brokerage. So he piqued my interest. And when I sat down and took a look at it, I just remember telling myself, I'm like, how can I not do this? And the story. I asked my wife, I said, sit down. I want you to watch this 30-minute video, and I want you to tell me reasons I should not do this. Cause I really didn't want to add anything to my plate, even though I knew that I needed to do it. So she watched the video and she's like, yeah, you better do that. And I'm like, I know you already told me what I wanted to hear. And really what it really boiled down for me was a couple of things, but Alex already kind of hit the nail on the head. For me, and I know a lot of real estate investors, it's like, we're already doing this stuff. Like, why don't we, generate another income stream from it? And I saw it too as an income stream, but maybe even potential, to get more deals and do, grow other parts of my business, which it's absolutely done. Like, we've gotten deals and done JVs with a lot of my agents and team members now. But at the bottom, like, the core of it for me was like, when I really boil it down, is when I got into real estate, 14 years ago, and I was, broke as a joke, living in an apartment, all that kind of stuff. I started reading, Robert Kiyosaki, and really trying to get, financially educated, which I wasn't before, other than my little Dave Ramsey course. And for me, real estate, it gave me this dream, right, of creating financial freedom, creating passive income, creating, wealth, and through equity and owning real estate. And when I broke down the EXP model, that's what the founder, Glenn Sanford, created. Was he gave us, as agents, wearing our agent hats, and those of you who are full-time agents, he gave us something that nobody else would give us the opportunity to do when you're already operating your business. And he gave you an opportunity to partner with them with equity, and also to create passive income. So I was sold on that. I'm like, man, I'll be kicking myself if I don't try this. So, man, I'm very thankfully dove in, 2.5 years ago. And people like, man, what do you think about EXP? I'm like, it's better even than I thought it was going to be. I mean, my wife and I have 5 kids. They've added insurance programs now for us as agents. And so I save $700 or $800 a month on insurance alone with me and my family. So it's been great. And I kind of like how Pat says, like, show me a better model. Like, this is like, we're all business people here, right? And so it was just a simple business decision, doing the math, doing the numbers, and it was a no-brainer. I think I've heard that about 5 times already. So I guess I'll chip in and say it was a no-brainer.
Awesome. So Connor, you're kind of next up the totem pole here. You talked to Brant. Of course, we've gotten to know each other a while over the years, and you've got a really unique story because you were already pretty well known within, but not just the investor community, but within your area, but also nationally because of your platform. I mean, you were a social media influencer, big on YouTube. So you're in a unique position to where everybody's coming to you, and they're trying to hit you up on eXp. So can you share your story on how that was for you, and what was it that finally stopped your tracks and said, like, boom, I got it, I can't wait anymore. Like, this is costing me money waiting.
I mean, the money opportunity is there, and the network I had built was already there. I'd be irresponsible to not take advantage of it. And so I didn't think that if I had an audience all around the world, why not hold my license at a brokerage that would allow me to capitalize on it all across the world, right? So this is about market share. This is about market cycles. This is about market size. And the traditional brokerage model is restricted to one city, one pinpoint on a map tied to a building. We're tied to cloud technology, which allows us to grow organizations all across the world now. So in just 3 years, I've been able to scale an organization across 35 states and countries. I don't know another brokerage that would allow me to do that. And the ability to think like an investor for multiple streams of income, equity, residual income, time and money freedom, leverage, I just didn't think there was anything else out there. And so I jumped in, talked to Pat. This was, I guess, 3 years ago. Pat was at 500 agents, said, if you jump in and go full steam, do what I did, you're going to have the same results. Exactly what happened. I said the same thing to Brant, Chris, and all you guys, and Matt. You guys are just falling. It's just one step behind. It's just financial freedom, following financial freedom, following financial freedom. And right now, the opportunity's here, guys. The dam is broken. Everybody's flooding into the company. Come over here, plant your flag down, say, I want financial freedom too. This is the company that will allow you to get.
All right, coming out on the internet there. So one thing, I'm going to go a couple more things, and we got some giveaways. I know Jamie.
You want to talk about some questions or no?
We'll get to those. Jamie, this question's for you. So I know right when we got started with investing, I had dropped that bomb in your lap, and you were very nervous and cautious with it, but you went along with it. You saw it actually play out live. From that very first appointment that you went on, not reluctantly, you actually pretty excited about that. I think it was going you didn't like the smelly, disgusting house and the awkward silence of negotiation.
Oh no, you know how I am. I would just like, wait, here's some more money. I'll give it all to you.
But of all the things that we've done, I mean, you like the flips, you like the transformations, but at the end of the day, it's the rental properties are what you've truly loved because you've seen what that's done for us over the years. And eXp was another thing. It was almost like Brant's situation. You're like, because you know how busy I am. You're like, oh great, okay, something else. Like this is just something else. What are you doing? But once that rev share started coming in, which still you weren't quite sure about, but once we made the equation to rental property, like this is what this equals. Like last month's rev share is equal to 15 rental properties. 15 rental properties that, I mean, it's a competitive market right now. It's not that easy to go out and just grab 15 unless you want to pay a premium price. And on top of that, it requires a lot of debt. Jet Lending's more than willing to help you out there, but it's debt, right? It's debt. It's risk. And then there's tenants. Things like COVID happens. And of course, there's just natural things, hurricanes, there's all kinds of things. I love rental properties. We're going to keep buying them for a long, long time. Everyone should. But at the end of the day, it's risk. And within a few, 2 years, we've now had the equivalent of an additional 15 debt-free. Yeah. It requires zero time management. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts there? I didn't tell you that I was going to bring in here, but I don't know if you had any thoughts.
No, it's fine. I mean, first of all, I'm a little different than, I guess, Brant, you mentioned your wife. You showed her the presentation and she's like, yeah, I don't see why you shouldn't do it. I saw it and I'm like, prove it. Like, prove that this is amazing. Like, first of all, when I see passion in Chris's eyes about something, I'm like, there's no stopping him. I'm like, okay, he's going with this. Just prove it to me. And then I just a proof of concept type of girl. Like once I see that, and the momentum, how we're going, and how it was, I mean, just a pivot in our business and how it's helped us in our business. I've just become fully on board, and I'm even so much so that I'm working on my license now too. Yeah.
I keep telling her, like, she'd be an amazing agent.
To get that done faster, but
yes, she'd be an amazing agent. She's much more extroverted and friendly and inviting. I'm the awkward introvert.
it's okay. We're a great team. I bring on the less awkwardness.
Yeah. Okay, so Pat, we had this conversation in the podcast, which should drop next week. That podcast was like amazing. Like even I got excited during the podcast, and I don't know, it was just cool. Maybe it's because I just like talking to successful people. But one of the things that we talked about there was.
Sorry, is Grant frozen?
Yeah, either that or he's super excited.
Laugh out loud and interrupt, but
screenshot that. That's hilarious. Yeah. Oh, Brant. Okay, so okay, so Pat, one thing that I wrote out, I asked you this question. When you were with your old boutique brokerage, if you would have stayed there for 20 years, hustled it, maybe at some point you're selling like 30, 40, $50 million in real estate a year. That's successful, right? That's really successful as a team leader. When you decided to leave in that hypothetical situation, what could you have sold your team for? What equity do you have in your team?
Zero.
Nothing. Most agents don't realize that. So you can make it just like house flipping, just like wholesaling. You can make a ton of money.
Yep.
But
while you're doing it, yep.
The moment you stop, income stops. Yep. The unfortunate part for the agent, most agents don't understand this. Yes, you own your own business. You're you're a solopreneur, but you have no equity. There's nothing you can sell. Right. You're essentially an employee. You're an independent contractor. The moment you stop, it's gone. You could sell your lock boxes. You could sell your Supras and maybe the metal frames, which 20 years from now, like we're not even gonna be using that stuff. Right. So you really can't even sell that. You've worked 20 years, working 60 something hours a week, 6-7 days a week for a long time, making a lot of money, helping out your clients just like you should be doing for nothing. Not for nothing, but you have no equity in your business, right? Nothing that you've built up over time to contribute towards your retirement. Like let that sink in. That's why the broker owner, they're in a little better position, not that much, but they're in a little better position in that they at least can bring, they have equity. It's not that much, unless they go out and build like a brokerage of 1,000 agents. Then there's a little bit of value, but I mean, are you going to do that? Because if you've got 10 agents on your team, I don't know, you got to be like super niche and have something really good to have much value at all. Like it's not like building a software company that you can go out and just sell. You don't have anything. You have nothing. But with eXp today, right now, if you were to sell your business, rough ballpark, and you can be really, really generic if you want, but rough ballpark, what would you say it's maybe worth?
Gosh, I hadn't really thought about that. For one, I'd never sell it because the cash flow is absolutely amazing. But for two, I'm still having a lot of fun, just like what we're doing here, growing this business, growing this company we're all shareholders of. But
just from an equity standpoint, just straight equity.
Yeah, over I'd say probably over $2 million. $2
million
that I built in 5 years.
It's amazing. Brant showed me his number. I'm not going to say it. It's big. And we're going to wrap this up.
Not too
it's pretty nice, but it was zero where you were before. It was zero.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is like the model itself is, for the first time ever, agents have the ability to build wealth for their retirement. And if they want to, cash flow, passive income, while doing what they're already doing. Selling houses, talking with other agents. They don't have to do anything different. They should. You should still buy rental properties. You should. It's still smart. But you don't have to. There's nowhere else that you can do that.
Let your revenue share pay for your rental properties.
Yes. Yeah. So that's it. Hey guys, I appreciate it. Jamie's got a couple quick announcements. We got another big event coming up soon. We are going to have y'all back on different occasion. This has been a lot of fun. I never thought sitting talking for like 8 hours straight. I didn't know how much fun that would be. So if y'all have been watching this, if you got any value at all, leave us a review. Let us know in context. Like, hey, Brant said this, Connor said this, Audra said this, like Pat said this, like just let us know. What did you like? What was your biggest takeaway for today? And then I know Jamie's got some announcements. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Matt, Audra, Alex, Connor, Brant, all the other speakers from earlier today. Thank y'all.